Hey, hello, greetings and welcome. All right, so when you're working with the quality of Sung in Tai Chi, there's stages of the development of Sung, and there's stages of the development of Jin. What we want to look at are what these stages represent, what's the most efficient way to address them. Now, when we look at the model a lot of people use, where you first address loosening, then you address fullness and filling, and then you address emptying, these can be perceived in many different ways. The Sung generates the looseness, so that's your loosening phase. So the jelly body of Tai Chi, to have a loose body, to be empty of intent, this is that central idea that a lot of Tai Chi people gravitate towards. What tends to be lacking is the cultivation of Jin. Now, the looseness of the body is broken into stages. The muscle tendon stage, where you're learning how to control force and gravity through the joints to activate fascia instead of muscle. The stage of letting go of emotional stress and tensions, anxiety, then letting go of mental resistance. So you're loosening the physical body, you're loosening the middle dantian through the feeling body, and you're loosening the mind, getting the mind to occupy more space. So these three stages of loosening are pretty easy to identify and work with. They can be done mechanically, psychologically addressed. You don't have to have deep metaphysical skill for that. You just need to be sensitive to yourself. In the cultivation of Jin, we have the same first 2 points, muscle tendon change. So instead of moving from extending the arms and body out in the muscle movement, you control gravity and stress through the joints, transfer to the joint and stretch the joint open to activate fascia instead of muscle. When you put a stretch on the joint and you activate the fascial web, you have more connection through the fascia and less muscle activation. You want to minimize the flexion of the joint, so you don't want to be pushing and pulling with long movements. You want to keep everything relatively small. What this small range of movement does is it generates a vastly different mechanical structure. If the movements are too big, you're forcing your muscles to contract to activate. If the movements are small and regulated through a joint stretch, you're activating the fascia. This is stage 1 of Jin production. The stage 2 is when you start to hang the muscle when you open the joint. You can then tune the feeling to life force. That's why we do exercises like building the ball and whole body pore breathing and so forth. They're tuning exercises. So you can get the mind to tune into the feeling of life force, tune the body to produce more life force. You get a byproduct of more Sung, more relaxation, and you start to produce Jin. So this is where these two become homogeneous. You need to get more Sung to get more Jin. To get more Jin, you need to get more Sung. And they just go backwards and forwards through the way you stretch your joint, relax your muscle, stretch the mind, tune the mind to the frequency of the energy. So this is that next stage of Jin production, internal power production. Now obviously the word you put in front of Jin, power, relates to the type of power. You have listening power, translating power, sticking power, interpreting power, and so forth. There's qualitative powers and quantitative powers. They're all aspects of mind, and they require some type of mind substance to generate them. They can be generated from the top down or the bottom up. The ones I'm referring to are from the bottom up, from the body mechanics, primarily, and later from the top down, from the mind substance. The next stage is your relationship to time. So when you slow everything down, do the 4-cycle breath and tuning the breath exercises, the slowing down does some very interesting things. It drops the mind into the astral body, or we call into a chi state, where you become aware of chi. So as you get sensitivity to your astral body, your mind is fusing the astral body, and the astral body is moving the physical. So mind, chi, body fusion. So this relationship between the three bodies automatically kicks in as a as a Tai Chi way of moving. So this astral stage or Chi stage is the next step. Okay, we'll pause here for a minute. Okay, how you going?
Right here. Hey, Mark. There he is. Come on in.
Hey, Cliff. Okay, so the next stage from the astral is your relationship to space. Now, in the astral, we have several different stages of releasing time, several different stages of integrating that into your body, and these don't need to be broken up too much, but more described in the context of how your body feels, how your energy system relates to your experience when you're doing the form. Now, when you tune the breath, you're slowing everything down and going through the process really, really slowly. And the slower the breath and the greater the pause at the beginning and end of the breath, the more you can calibrate to this timeless quality of the mind. You can calibrate the energy to slowing down and your body to slowing down. As you do this, you'll develop a vibrational scale of release of time, and there's what we call the rate of transformation. When gravity or a force gets placed on your body, there's a rate at which you can transform it from the physical to the astral, from the through the body mechanics, through the stretch, through the vital, into the astral chi. So this rate of transformation is something that you very, very subjectively look at and create a contrast of, I'm transforming quickly, I'm transforming slowly today, and this is the level I'm working at. So this transformation rate is something that really regulates martial effectiveness. You have to transform at the rate of gravity initially, then you have to transform at the rate of an incoming force. So if someone puts a force on your body at the speed of a boxer's jab, you have to receive it into the fascia, you have to receive it through the stretch, receive it through transformation of vital into astral at that speed. That means you have to have a lot of hours of a person feeding the jinn to you at that speed so you can practice transforming at that speed. And there's a certain threshold where arts like Tai Chi become martially viable when the transformation rate is fast enough. And I just refer to that as the speed of a boxer's jab. If you can't transform energy at that speed, it's not martially viable. Okay, and the next stage is the upper dantian, the mind stage. Now, when a force is coming in Hermetics they're saying the universe is mind. Everything is mind substance. And the way you relate form to energy to mind, you relax everything into the mental space in and around you. And this is a very unique type of skill. And some people seem to have a knack for doing it where they just touch people, feel their balance, and lead their balance to the open space around them, making the person lose balance. Other people, it takes a few years to sort of really get the knack of this one. But if you're used to touching a person's center of balance and leading it, all you have to do there is expand it. And you figure this one out pretty quickly. If you have these key elements there, leading balance and then expanding balance. And it's song of relaxation, which is guiding it out. So these are the three basic platforms for cultivation of Jinn, the middle stage. Now, emptiness is relating the incoming forces to the empty space underneath it, to the Akasha, to the Wuji, where a force comes in and you literally lead it to emptiness through the facial web, vital, astral, mental, and into the Akasha, the empty space underneath. So you're always emptying everything out. And this is a level where people confuse Sung and looseness and emptiness. A lot of people tend to run away from incoming forces because they're in this mindset, I just have to be loose. Now, it doesn't matter how much physical tension you have in your body. If your mind is inside of Akasha, energy will move through that physical tension into Akasha. It's not a matter of looseness. You want to optimize your facial tension, but the pressure at the point of contact is more important. That you create space between where you're touching your partner, so that inside of that space you can move things into emptiness. If you have a heavy bridge and you're pushing hard on someone, then that stiffness will keep it in the fascia and the life force level. You won't even be getting to the astral. You need to create the space to get into the astral, through the astral into the mind and then into akasha. So these three stages of loosening, filling, and emptying, they're all Sung based. Sung produces looseness. Sung allows the jinns to be developed more easily and more deeply. And Sung allows your mind to move into emptiness, or Wu Ji. So it's the underlying platform of how Tai Chi functions. Now, a lot of arts will not put as much emphasis on the quality of Sung. So if you're not emphasizing Sung enough, or how to relax and release, then there's a high level of vulnerability. When you touch people who have a lot of power, you can use that power against them. But if they have a very high, deep form of Sung, their power is hidden. And this is where it generates a very, very different type of personality of your touch and of your energy when your Sung is very, very deep. But you need to clearly differentiate the nature of the mind substance that relaxes and releases, and the nature of the mind substance which opens power through that relaxed, released space. So these stages of developing between the cultivation of Sung and the cultivation of Jin, they start to fuse together at this in the mind level, where the mind is Sung and it is absorbing power all the time, and it's absorbing emptiness, and it forms the habit of what you do. So your mind, if it's dwelling in Akasha and absorbing force into Akasha all the time, becomes very ghost-like and empty. If the mind is absorbing into mental space a lot, people will tend to just lose their balance around you when you touch them. There's an automatic sense of balance loss. And if you're in the astral and people touch, there's that jelliness that happens inside people's body when you're in the astral. And if vital, it feels like getting electrocuted. If it's fast vital, or if it's just open, spongy vital, it's like gently putting a trampoline underneath someone and uprooting them. So you get these different types of energetic signatures or behaviors within your training partners. Even though every training partner is different, you get a sense of categorization, and you'll lose a knowing. Which do I need more loosening? And we all feel like we need more loosening. Do I need more Jin? We all feel like we need more Jin, more fullness and power. Do we need more emptiness? And we'll always feel like we need more emptiness. So these three stages aren't really stages. They're continuous training patterns, and your mind will be moving towards, I've got to cultivate more Jin today, I've got to cultivate more looseness, I've got to be more empty, and so forth. You'll move between them in phases and cycles. And this is a very, very unique kind of personality of your training routine, how you cycle through them and how you develop these stages and how you identify the stages of looseness and the stages of Jin and the stages of emptiness. When we talk about stages of emptiness, the best model that I've seen out there is the descriptions of the formless jhanas, formless mind states in Buddhism. And there are different qualities of infinity. There's a quality of infinity of space, where you're very, very connected to open awareness, but there's no edges to it. So it's infinite mind and it's an infinite space that's allowing you to have that sensation. And then from the infinite space, the quality infinite mind, which is a part of it, dominates instead of the space, and you just have a sense of open awareness. So it's a different quality to infinite space to infinite mind, even though your mind needs to be touching a quality of infinity to recognize that infinite space level. The infinite mind level is not sensing form at all. It's sensing the infinity of mind substance, and it's a different type of sensation quality. Then we go to nothingness, and for the Kabbalists, this is the letter U, where there's a very profound vacuum underneath things, and underneath emptiness itself, the vacuity increases, so you feel like you're losing yourself in it, like the immortality of spirit is threatened somehow, that if I fall into this, I'm going to lose myself, that there's some type of unconscious fear response that comes up when you hit this nothingness, vacuous, like you're being pulled into a black hole scenario. And these qualities, you find a stability with them only through the body. Your mind can't ground into these things very efficiently, but when you're relating it to the body grounds the mind, so you can work with these stages of nothingness. And if you're incorporating these into your Tai Chi, when you touch people, people are going to blink and lose time momentarily when you pull them out. And if you've ever trained with someone who bounces you, and every now and then it's sort of like you lose your awareness momentarily, they're touching on this nothingness stage. And then the stage beyond that, they call it neither perception or non-perception. And it's something that can't be adequately labeled. And it's a fine, clear mind substance that's inherently empty underneath the mind. And it's a little bit like glass, has a deep clarity to it. And this one is very similar to equanimity. It has a resonance with equanimity, but it is much deeper. It's the emptiness underneath equanimity. So these stages can be looked at primarily from meditation, but you can relate them into your moving practices. You can't develop them in moving practice because you require too much stillness of your body, of your astral and of your mental, and because they're so far outside of form, any form of movement will make your mental astral matrix bind, link in, and pull you back into the mental astral physical realms. So this akasha needs to be developed extensively independent of movement before it's brought into movement, and this emptiness stage is really the mother of it all. It's the master. So as you develop these Tai Chi stages, you'll find that you'll create a vibrational scale within your own experiences, and you can label them into, the loosening stage, and then the filling stage, and the emptying stage. Psychologically break it down, astrally, emotionally break it down, and physically break it down into steps, so you can analyze what to do to progress and develop yourself further in your Tai Chi journey. Okay, thanks for your time, and we'll leave this one there, and we'll see you guys on the next video.